Hi, I'm Donna Jordan from Jordan Fabrics. Today I'm going to show you how to make a pattern called chain link. A lot of you might not be aware that we have a daily email we send out and we show a lot of products that we make, and we recently asked people what pattern would you like to see in a video, and most of them said chain link. This is one of Cozy Quilt's patterns and it takes a jelly roll. So I have this one here. These are batiks and it's called chai tea. So all of these darker ones, they'll be used in all of this patchwork here. And what we need to pick out is a background and an accent. For the background, I want something light. I want something that all of these dark pieces will show up against. And one caution I have when picking a background is that I don't get too much pattern in it. This one is good. It's a nice batik. But it's a little bit busy, so I'm a little worried about that one, even though the color is really good. This is another good one, but it's a stripe, and sometimes with the stripe, because it's a one-way design, we might get it turned different ways and that might bother me. So I think I'm gonna go with the most neutral one. I think I'm gonna go with this one here. The next fabric we need to pick is the accent, and that's where this light creamy yellow is in every block. So it's an accent, but it's fairly light. We would like it if it's different than most of these strips. So if we pick this one here, we will probably take out any of these strips from the patchwork that are almost the same color. So that's one option. This is a nice option, but it's a little bit busy. That one would be good. That one would be good. And even this light green one would be good. I think I'm going to sort the pieces out first and then pick. These are the strips that I am going to use. The pattern comes with 4 different sizes. I'm going to make the throw, which takes 35 strips. And my jelly roll had 40. So I'm going to take out the 5 that I don't think will work as well. These ones because they're pretty light, and these ones because they're a little more yellow than what I would like. So this gives us a little better way to see which accent we like. And I actually think this one is going to look really nice. There's contrast between this and the background, and there's not a lot of this exact color in here, so I think this will work really well. I'm going to go ahead and get the cutting started, and the first step is to cut each one of these strips in half. So I'm just going to put my scissors in where the fold is and cut them in half, because we're going to be working with half strips for all the patchwork. The pattern had me separate these half strip units into 4 different stacks, and they're all going to get cut differently. I can't give you all the sizes because it's not my pattern, but one nice thing about Cozy Quilt patterns, they're very easy to follow. So I'm going to go ahead and get all the sub-cutting done. I've got all the cutting done, and the next step is to take these half strip pieces. These are all half strip. These ones, these background ones, I also cut them in half, and we're going to take these to the sewing machine. We're going to be making strip tubes with one background piece and one of the batik pieces. All I'm going to do is put them right sides together and stitch down one side and then back up the other side. The next step is to use our strip tube ruler. That's a nice triangular ruler that Cozy Quilt Design sells that's got all these different lines on it. And we're going to use the 2.5 inch line. I'm going to turn it over so you can see my stitching line, because we want to put the 2.5 inch line here on the stitching line, not on the edge, on the stitching line. So I'm going to slide it down here, and then I'm going to make 2 cuts. We'll cut on this side, move the tube a little bit, and then cut on the other side. And so what this gives us is a nice, accurate half square triangle. Now we're going to take the ruler and we're going to turn it around, put that 2.5 inch line on the top stitching line, and make another cut. And now we've got another half square triangle here. And I'm going to keep cutting half square triangles all the way down the tube. The last step is to iron the half square triangles with the seam allowance toward the dark. Add a little steam, and that sets it very nicely. And then trim off these little extra bits that are called dog ears. And I don't want you to worry if you don't have a strip tube ruler. The pattern does give directions for how to do it with other rulers, but the strip tube ruler, it's my favorite template, and it's pretty fast and pretty convenient. Our next step is to take these 2 pieces, and I've got them all paired up, a small and a big, and 3 background squares. And I'm going to draw a line across the back side of 2 of those background squares. So I like to use a light pencil line and just go from corner to corner. First, let's take this bigger piece and we'll put the background on top of it. And we're going to stitch right along the drawn line. And then we're going to press the square right on top of itself. And you can iron it if you like, but right now I just want to show you what it's going to look like. So I'm just going to finger press it. Then trim off those back 2 layers so that we don't have extra bulk. Take the other square that has the line on it and we'll put it on top of here. And again, stitch right on the drawn line. Press it open again, just like we did with this piece, and trim off those back 2 layers. Now we're ready to put these pieces together. That goes there, that goes there, and that goes there. So we're making almost a little flower shape there. So I'll sew these 2 pieces together, and then they'll be exactly the same length as that. And I'm going to press this seam allowance toward the background because there's less bulk facing this way, and that's the way that seam allowance wants to go. Now we'll just stitch this onto here. Finger press this, and now we've got the beginning of the middle of the first block. The next step is to pick a pair of these bigger pieces, and we want them to contrast a little bit with that color, so this will be a good one. And then we'll take 3 more background squares, and we're going to draw a line on the back of all of these 3. So the shorter piece is going to get made exactly like that. So we'll put a background on it here and stitch on that line just like we did earlier. That will fit right there, and this longer piece, it gets a background on each end, and they're going to be going in opposite directions. So let's just sew both these pieces on. that piece will fit right there. So we're going to stitch these on. And we'll press this away from the center. And this one also gets pressed away from the center. And I will take it over to the ironing board, but the finger pressing lets you see right away how everything fits together. The next pieces we need to add on are 2 of this size, and they don't have to match. They can be 2 different colors. We need 2 more backgrounds with lines drawn on them and 1 accent block. We're going to add a background piece to one end of each of these long pieces. Just be sure one is going down to the left and one down to the right. These pieces fit on the block like that, with the accent right here in the corner. So we'll just stitch this to this piece. And we'll put this piece on here. And I'm going to keep pressing all the seams away from the middle. And now this one will fit exactly on here, except I can see right now this seam allowance needs to go the opposite direction, so that when I put these 2 pieces together, my seams will nest nicely right there. The pattern does have nice diagrams that tell you which way to press all your seam allowances, so you certainly don't have to remember, oh, look how nice that lines up there and there. My tip is cut off a teeny bit here, so if I want to fix that, all I would do would be take out the stitching there and stitch it a little less deep so that I'm not cutting off the point. That doesn't really bother me that much, and I think I'll get better as I go, so I'm going to leave it right now. To finish off the block, it's very easy. We're going to take 2 more of this same size piece that we used here, but we don't have to add any triangles to it. Then we're going to take these half square triangles in pairs, so matching pairs, and they'll be pointing like that. And 1 more accent piece goes in the corner here. Then we've got the last pieces, they're longer here. 1 more set of half square triangles, again pointing towards themselves. And then 1 more of these squares that we cut earlier. Believe it or not, that block is the basis for the whole quilt. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this one and the rest of the blocks, then we can see what the quilt's going to look like. The chain link blocks are all done. They're surprisingly easy to make. There's a lot of pieces, but none of the steps are very difficult. The layout is super simple. We're just going to spin 4 blocks around like this, and that is how we get that star. So let me finish the rest of these here so you can see what it looks like. So now we can see the nice stars here, and there's also a nice star right here in the middle. And I do need to pick out some borders. The reason it's important to pick out border colors that are good is because there's cornerstones that are pieced. So I pulled out a lot of different options here for borders, and I'm going to have to use a colored border for the inside border. I can't use this light because of the pieced cornerstones, but that would be a good framing border. That would look nice around the outside. This is a great print. That's really going to bring a lot more of the green out, and I like that it's a nice big print. This one has all the colors that are in the top, but I think it's a little bit too red. So I think I'm going to go with, I think that will frame it the best. We'll use that one. We need to pick a thread color that will look good on the patchwork. Honestly, any of these colors would work. None of them are really going to show. I've got a nice light brown here. It's kind of a gray brown. It's going to blend in. This is a nice rusty brown color. It'll show a little bit more in those light areas. Nice soft green. Not going to show much. I think I'm going to use gold. Let's see. Yeah, that's not going to make any sort of color show in the lights. Blends in with all the darks, and I think this will be the least obtrusive, so that's what I'm going to use. For the quilting pattern, I'm using one called Variety. Let me make it a little bit bigger so you can see. Oops. There's one repeat of it, and I like it because it's curvy and has a few little points, but doesn't suggest any particular theme. The chain link quilt is all done, and I really like how you can see that chain basically going all the way up the quilt there. You see it going this way, and one of the reasons it shows so nicely is because of these nice cornerstones here. So I made 4 of these cornerstones, and this was made a little bit different. Normally when I do borders, I will put the first border all the way around and then I might have a cornerstone, but this one is kind of in there. So what you do is you make 4 border pieces that are exactly the size of the patchwork. You stitch this onto there, cut them to the exact size of the patchwork, and then put them on the sides, add the cornerstones to both ends of this one, and sew that to the top and bottom. And so it really looks like it's intermingled with the patchwork. It really looks nice. I made the throw size quilt. That's this one here, and I'm very happy with that size, but it looks even better bigger, and there's even a large king size included in the pattern, so it goes all the way up to a 108 by 108 size, and the pattern just gets expanded, so it's pretty easy to make those bigger sizes. You just make more of the block and put more blocks together. The quilting is very understated. There's so much going on in the patchwork that I didn't want anything showing much in the quilting. But you can see a little bit here. Let's check the back. The back, the quilting shows a little bit, and that's that nice ferny print that I considered using on the border. It was a little too dark for here, but it looks great on the back. And I like bindings like this. It's got a little bit of a striped effect on the binding, and that always seems to finish off quilts very nicely. Thanks so much for watching our video today. We hope you enjoyed it. We sure have a lot of fun making the quilts and sharing them with you. Now at the end of every video, we do a giveaway. Today's giveaway is a quilt that we made in a video some time ago in a pattern called Fruitcake. And this is done with a beautiful collection of prints from Northcott. It's very easy to enter the giveaway. All you do is click the link right below this video that says giveaway, and you put in your name and your email address, and you might be the lucky winner. Now, if you like our tutorials and you want to support us, the best thing you can do is subscribe to our YouTube channel. That really helps us out. Happy quilting!